Dude, so cool. You filming? That is a chunky little Tennessee muskie. There's way bigger ones out there, I'll tell you, I've caught them in here. But that kind of fish, though, there's a lot of guys in Wisconsin, man, they would give a lot of money to catch a fish like that, especially during a tournament. She might take a minute to recuperate. She'll be good. You know, that's something too. Always take the time to spend with these fish. I mean, and I'm guilty of it too, you know, where you want to get back out and fish, you figure something out. The biggest thing is that fish that you want to go catch, that 48, that 51, about 4 or 5 years ago, this was her. And you want to make sure that they're just all right. You know, a lot of people do this stuff too, where they'll flush them back and forth. Don't do that. Don't ever do that. I used to do that just out of ignorance. And that's just not the way to do it. All you want to do is just hold them down, let them get their equilibrium, let them relax. You know, and that's the biggest thing too. I know this is a instructional video, but man, the worst mistake I see people make is not having the right gear. I mean, we've got hook cutters, we've got big pliers. I don't use gloves because I've done it enough and I don't care, but I recommend for your first year or so, you should probably get yourself a good pair of gloves because they do have rakers, they do have teeth, they do have gills, gill plates that are pretty razor sharp. But the big thing is, you see that net? That's the biggest net I could get a hold of. That's an RS net. And I'm not one of those guys who just say, well, you got to go buy this thing. There's a lot of good big nets out there. That's my favorite. I love that octagon hoop design. It scoops them up. It's got the deepest net I know of. Roman's a great guy. He can build almost anything you can think up. But the coolest thing is too, I mean, I don't know what kind of boat you're going to be fishing out of, but those front rod holders that I like to use like that, there's all these little ancillary uses for things you'll install on your boat. Like, I don't know, the other day we got a 48, and there she goes. There she goes. Yeah, just let them get their thing. You see that? We'll keep an eye on her. She's doing fine. If you see them kind of stutter a little bit, struggle, the biggest thing you want to watch when they're recuperating is if they can't maintain their equilibrium, do it for them. Hold them up. Make sure they can maintain upright. If they're disoriented like that, that's not a good sign. Like, you want to spend more time with them. That fish just cruised right down. It's really crucial to be quick with these fish. I know you want to get a picture. We all want to get a picture. Just whatever, you be quick about it. I know one of the things that a lot of people do is they want to take their time and stuff. Don't lay them out too much on the deck. Like, I've got this bump board laid out. The surface of this stuff is kind of designed to not take as much of the slime off as if they'd hit the carpet. Carpet's really bad for the fish because that slime, their mucous membrane, is basically part of their autoimmune system. And that's what protects them getting infections and stuff like that. And if you take that off and throw them back in the water before their body can regenerate it, when they're already stressed, they can get some kind of infection. It can be a pretty bad thing. Like, I've seen fish with different maladies caused by that. But the biggest thing is, like, don't press them up against you. Don't hold them out to where if you drop them, they hit the carpet. The best thing I tell people, and it's not canon, but it works, is the best way to hold these fish is to lock your elbows. Just keep them to your side like this. So what you're doing is, you don't do this. Like, don't do that. You can hold them out a little bit, you can move them, but these things, this thing, don't get too crazy with that, because what'll happen is if that fish does decide to move, that fish does, because like that was a medium-sized fish. If you get a big one, like some of the ones I've held, and I've got experience with them, if you don't know how to handle them, they will get loose. You cannot fight them. Like, they're stronger than you when it comes to that. You're gonna drop them. The biggest thing you need to remember is hold them like this, keep them out. Gives you a little bit of force perspective, but they're not touching your body. Your arms are locked into your sides like this. And this sounds like really mundane, but this stuff can make a big difference. But the best thing is when they start to shake, you don't have your hands out like this. You're not touching them and getting your slime all over them. You're not wiping that off them. When they start to shake, don't try to fight it. Grab on tighter than you ever did before. Let them shake it out. Let them take all that energy out on your elbow. And as soon as they start to settle down, pick them back up and do it right there. And it's the easiest way. There's no one single uniform way to do everything, but I'll just be honest with you. I've tried a bunch of different things. That's the best I've ever found. And it almost never fails. If you can get somebody to do it right, I've held giant fish doing it. It's never been a problem. But those things, we just watched the release of a fish. It's exactly how you release a fish. That was a textbook release. So nice to watch a fish just gradually get back to themselves, help burn off some of the lactic acid that they build up, and just kind of take off on their own accord. Don't do the shove back and forth thing. We all have seen it. I've done it. I used to do it. I'm guilty of it on video. I'm saying now, don't do that. But the biggest thing that I can say is you just want to have everything in place so you're ready to go whenever you hook a fish. And we did. That's why I've got the thing on the back of my boat that everybody at the gas station stares at. I've got my net, so all I have to do, I don't have to fish it out. It's already ready. We go grab it, run up to the front. Got the rod holders out to the side. The Drift Masters, like I said, double as a net holder, so that's kind of nice. I installed these. These are Drift Master rod holders that we use for stationary trolling, but they also work really well, as I learned a couple weeks ago improvising a situation. You can shove your net into them, and that's really great because then you can push this in. You don't have to worry about it. Used to be I used to have to put something on it, hold it down, wait, have a friend do it. No, you shove it in there, hold it up level so the fish can't jump out easy, but it's a big enough hoop. You can actually get down there. They can swim down. They don't feel like they're pressed against the surface. They can get down, feel comfortable. Having all these things in mind before you go out and before you hook a fish might not just mean like the lack of success on your part. If you do catch the fish, you're fidgeting and fumbling and you don't know where everything is, and it all happens to us. Not everything goes according to plan. There's no script. But as long as you kind of have a set layout, like I've got this here, I've got that there, move this here, we do this, move to the front, I'll tell you, you won't have to watch a fish roll over and belly up in front of you too, because that's not a good feeling. I've had it happen a handful of times. Sometimes you just can't avoid it. It will happen at some point. It won't be your fault. You'll hook them the wrong way and you won't be able to help it. But anything like we just did on film, that's exactly how you want it done. Probably couldn't have asked for a better release on a fish. Everything went smoothly. So keep that in mind. We're gonna go out, we're gonna talk some more about jigging, see if we can get a bigger fish, because we literally just had a follow on the first cast while the fish was in the net. We're gonna go back and see if we can jig some more fish up and hopefully reaffirm the ideology that I try to perpetuate every time I go out. And as I've been doing today was, busting my brain. It's like, well, this has worked in the past and this has worked in the past and all these things have worked in the past. Why aren't these things working today that weren't working in the past? But I knew the areas had fish. So we just were about to adapt a tactic and do like a combination troll jigging thing. And coincidentally figured out that jigging wasn't even exactly what I thought it would be. So we're gonna go out there and see if we can get another fish doing that and get it on film. And we'll go more into depth with that. This is Cory Allen in The Spread. Hopefully see you real soon.